Hi, Tina. How are you?
Hi. Hi, Marianne. How are you?
Really well. Tina, you promised to do a testimonial on the Essential
Yeah,
Archetype program, which you've just completed
I have, yes.
after probably a period of about 8 months.
Yeah, but it's been about 8 months. Yeah, it's gone quickly, but yeah, about that.
So we've been talking with each other every week or every couple of weeks over that period of time, and we established that you had 4 different archetypes.
Hmm.
And why don't you share with me and other people who are listening what happened to you on that journey?
Oh, okay.
Where you started out and where you are now, maybe might
Yeah,
be a really good.
lots happened. The reason I started the whole process was to help establish better working relationships with people around me and then people who I work with as well. Because of the type of work I do, I can encounter all sorts of people. So I wanted to make sure I establish relationships well. So that was a big thing for me. And then, family relationships. So I started the process. There was, a lot I learned along the way. And
Was it challenging for you at times?
yeah, it was definitely challenging. And there were times that I went, I don't want to do this anymore.
But you persisted.
But if you push through,
Was that in the uncomfortable bits when you
there,
discovered things about yourself?
yeah, there were some really uncomfortable bits. We all have bits of ourselves that we don't want to look at. And yeah, look, and there were aspects of me at that time that I just went, wow, I really need to change that. It's not good. And
I
it's
think
not
one of the greatest things
healthy.
about this course is it teaches you not to be in judgment of yourself or other people,
Exactly.
and just allow you to go through the process and understand, that sometimes in our early days of growing up, we actually picked up patterns and programs that weren't conducive to having great relationships. And a
Absolutely.
lot of it's been around judgments. And I think one of the greatest gifts of this program is looking at those hidden mindsets that we have and bringing them out into the open. And once we're conscious of them, it's so much easier to let them go.
Absolutely. And there were things I had to look at right face to face and face them. And now I can let go of that stuff.
And I
Um,
can see a big shift in you from when you started, from being, really feeling a little bit stuck. You're working for yourself.
yeah,
Um, you had some clients, but you were really wondering where to go with your purpose. And I feel that journey of 8 months, you've really worked out what your purpose is.
exactly. And that's the thing. I was feeling stuck, even though I thought I had planned the direction I wanted to head the business, but I was feeling stuck at the same time and I couldn't figure out why.
Mm.
And it was basically, I was my own worst judger. Is that a word? No.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
judged myself
Mm.
the absolute hardest. And
Mm.
we often do that anyway. We're our worst.
That's right. And I think, for me, it's been such a privilege to watch you go on this journey and be so honest with yourself. And, it's not often that we get that opportunity to share that intimate conversation. I mean, the process was that we journaled every week. I journaled and you journaled, and we kept a record of what was going on. And we discussed our 4 archetypes. So tell me what your 4 archetypes are, and about the archetypes and what you've learnt about the different sides of yourself.
Okay. So it did change from the very beginning to part way toward the end.
That's
It did
because you
change.
shifted.
That's right. That's right. So I found that really interesting because I did feel I had shifted, but I couldn't figure out what had shifted, that
Mm.
type of thing.
Mm.
So now my 4 archetypes are the explorer,
So
the,
that's your personality.
the celebrity.
The celebrity, so that's your mind.
and yeah, my mind does head into the celebrity quite often.
Yeah.
The healer and the therapist.
Oh, okay. So no, the healer is your personality. The therapist is your purpose, which is your career. The celebrity is your mind, which is to do with all relationships. That you know, the celebrity likes to be king or queen of their castle, and you know, you shifted from being in judgments to being in acceptance, and then of course your explorer is your emotional side, and that is really broad-minded. And you worked with that, and you did such a great job. And now we've aligned all your archetypes. You know, some of them were unconscious, you couldn't see them. Others were semi-conscious, and some were just full on, like the healer. That's who you are. And exactly. I don't think you were living that. You weren't conscious of who you really are.
Yeah, and sometimes you're unconsciously living the expectations of others.
Yeah.
And that I think I fell into quite heavily. And I didn't realize. I thought I was doing my own thing, but really I was living someone else's expectations.
Absolutely. And once you set boundaries around the people in your life, you found your joy.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're in charge of your life. And
That's
everyone
right.
fitted in around it.
Exactly. And that was like my eye-opening moment. Once I set boundaries and I allowed myself to do that. That was the thing. I had to allow myself and give myself permission to do that.
Well, to put yourself first, I think.
That's
and I think
right.
There's a lot of women who don't put themselves first.
No, because it's that notion of feeling selfish. And yeah.
And the thing is, I bet everybody around you is much happier now that you're actually putting yourself first. Whereas when you're serving others and not serving yourself, no one's happy.
No, exactly right. And you think you're doing the right thing because, you know, I've been brought up to do the right thing. And that was instilled from very early in my life. So I had to break that notion as well.
Through that process, you've worked out what your journey is. Your journey is to write a book about that cultural changes in generations, but also appreciate what the gifts that culture gave you. Tell us about that book that you're going to put together.
Yeah, so both of us, both my husband and I, come from Italian backgrounds. He's been in hospitality for as long as I've known him. So he's definitely, we've been brought up to grow our own vegetables, cook our own food, very in a traditional way. So he's a chef. So we're bringing the chef and the writer together to do a book around the recipes that we were brought up with, how we grow our vegetables, and what that whole culture brings to us now and how we can bring that to everyone else.
And the strengths of that culture, you know, because I think all of us grow up in various cultures where we like some parts and we don't like others. And if you focus on the strengths, everything falls into place. And that's what you did with all your archetypes, because every archetype has a negative and a positive traits. And if you focus on the positive, it's so easy. But sometimes we get stuck in that negative thinking or negative feeling behaviours, and we need help to get out of that.
Exactly. And I definitely did get stuck in that negative thought process because it's easy to fall into that. And so now that I'm shifted my mindset around, you know, this is what I truly need to do, and these are some strategies around what we can use, what I can use, then everything seems a lot easier to manage. Even those tricky family, you know, get-togethers can be quite manageable.
Well, it's all about boundaries at the end of the day, and self-respect, and
absolutely,
and claiming your value, and the importance of your viewpoint as well. So
that's right.
I think you've done that, and I'm very, very delighted to have had the honour of working with you, and
Oh,
to see your growth and to see you blossoming in your business and in your life and in your joy.
yeah, absolutely. And, you know, sometimes it's just the little things every day that just bring about such joy when you reflect on that. So, yeah, it's been absolute.
And as you go back through your journal, I'm sure that you see the aha moments and see how you've changed.
Yeah, I've gone along and tagged a few aha moments because I don't want to forget those, because that brings me back in case I decide, you know, in case I steer myself in the wrong direction again, I can steer myself back.
Yeah. And I don't think you ever will, because you are
No.
really conscious now and really aware. You're awake, alert and aware to yourself. And and I think that's one of the greatest gifts, and it's a shame that this sort of thing isn't taught in schools.
I know. It would be so helpful as a teenager to have been made aware of this stuff, because just the strategies that you can, you know, think about on a daily basis just brings you back into, yes, you know, I am okay with this and I can manage whatever is happening around me.
And go into your heart and feel
Absolutely.
whether it suits or not. So
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, thank you so much for
That's
the
okay.
privilege
My
of
pleasure.
allowing me to work with you. And if anyone is interested in getting in contact, I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah.
So thanks, Tina, and you
Fantastic.
have a beautiful day.
You